Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? Of course, my name is Blitzwinger, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to, of course, a brand new Disney Infinity 3.0 unboxing. And today we've got a stellar unboxing for you guys. 6 figures from, of course, the Disney Originals lineup. There are still some that I am on the lookout for, like the Inside Out figures and such. Stay tuned for those unboxings. As soon as I have them, I will share those unboxings with you guys, and of course, then we will take those characters into the wonderful world of Disney Infinity 3.0. But nonetheless, today, of course, we're going to be taking a look at 6 of the very cool figures. We've got Minnie, Mickey, Olaf, Mulan, Quorra, and of course Mr. Sam Flynn himself. These were 2 figures that were actually out in Disney Infinity 2.0, but they were only digital-only characters, which was obviously kind of interesting because they've never done that before, but I guess the demand was high enough to where they were like, okay, let's make the figures. And I'm super duper glad that they did, because these are some really beautiful looking figurines. Nonetheless, so let's kick things off at the top of the pyramid, kind of the rulers of the Disney kingdom, so to speak. Of course, the packaging, you'll notice, is quite similar across all of the figures. We have this really beautiful kind of almost space-like, which of course plays on the whole Star Wars motif for Disney Infinity 3.0, space-like background with a nice beautiful luscious purple, and then we get a beautiful shot of the character in package. And of course, in this particular case, it is the wonderful Minnie, looking quite stylish indeed. Now, on the back of the package, we always get a little bit of information about the character itself. In this case, it says, fun-loving friend dazzles and charms her way through every adventure. That is, of course, the information we get about Minnie. Also, at the top right here, you can always notice a little bit of a compatibility chart, which is quite important because it allows you to know whether or not the character will be compatible with other versions of Disney Infinity. So if you're a parent buying the figures for your child or something like that, or if you don't have a lot of knowledge, this is something that you certainly do want to pay attention about, or to, I should say, because, of course, as you can see, this shows to you that not only is she only playable in Disney Infinity 3.0, but she's only going to be playable in the toy box mode of Disney Infinity 3.0, which means you can't take Minnie and then bring her into the Star Wars playset or the Inside Out playset or anything like that, or even then take her back into previous versions of the game, such as 1.0 or 2.0. So keep that in mind, and that's a pretty important piece of information there. Also, at the bottom here, we get a nice little roundup shot of most of the Disney Infinity Originals, or Disney Originals figures. I can't wait for Anger. He looks insane. Jor looks really cool. Of course, we have all the other cast members of Inside Out, including Disgust, Sadness, and Fear. We got Mulan right here looking quite stylish. That was a very pleasant surprise, and you'll notice in general a lot more female characters, which is really awesome. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and tear on into the first of the packages. Here she comes, the wonderful Minnie. I'm not going to attempt to do her voice because it's going to be really bad, A, on my voice, B, on your ears. So I don't think it's a very good thing. Alright, as always, we get a really cool little card right here. On the back of the card, you get a code that you can enter into DisneyInfinity.com/infinity. DisneyInfinity.com. That made no sense. Disney.com/infinity. That's what I meant to say, because we're going to infinity and beyond. Nonetheless, you also do get, of course, a little bit of an instruction booklet about all the info on the figurine. That is something that is common across all the figures across the board. As always, you want to flap this particular piece backwards carefully, because if you just tug on the figure, there's a good chance that you might either scrape the paint, or even a worst case scenario where you might break off something just because you tugged on it. So luckily, they designed these very cleverly, where you just pull this back and then the figurine slides out quite easily, which is really cool. So there's, of course, the wonderful Minnie, looking cool, quite stylish. I do like that quite a bit. I love the vibrant colors right here that we get on Minnie Mouse. She is looking quite cool. She's got, of course, the little tail peeking out right there. Nice big bow, and a pretty cool looking base as well. We'll see if Mickey's matches hers or not. So, speaking of Mr. Mickey Mouse, of course, the king of the kingdom, so to speak. On the back, by the way, for Mickey, it does mention that he is a playful adventurer who always wins the day. Playful adventurer always wins the day with imagination and heroic feats. Thank God it's not heroic feet, because that would be an interesting thing. But he does have quite big feet, so maybe that would be a possibility as well. So there is Mickey, looking quite cool. Of course, once again, we get the little instructional booklet there. So let's set the package to the side and open up Mickey. So with Mickey, by the way, it's a lot more present. Like, imagine if I pulled right now, there's a good chance I could have either bent the arm or something. So you want to always do that. I know I point it out often, but there's a reason why. Because I'm clumsy with that kind of thing. I get excited, and with Disney Infinity, I think it was 1.0. I don't remember which figure it was specifically. I pulled like that, and then one of the arms was like bent out of shape. So yeah, it wasn't a very smart move on my part. So there's Mr. Mickey Mouse, looking quite cool. Of course, we have gotten Sorcerer Mickey before. I'm hoping they will do like a Mickey as a Jedi or something like that. That would be really, really neat. Maybe at some point down the line, you know, in one of the future waves, or maybe it'll be like an exclusive or something like that, and they'll be like, hey, here's Mickey as a really, really cool knight or something. That would be really sweet to see. Of course, he's got his patented gloves, the big ears and all, and they look like a pretty happy couple there. All right, so with that in mind, let's set them a little bit to the side and continue. Here's Mr. Olaf, who was a figure that I think a lot of people, including myself, really wanted to see appear in Disney Infinity 2.0. I mean, after the success of Frozen and how fun that film was and how awesome it was and how fantastic this character was, I think most people after seeing Elsa and Anna were like, okay, come on, give us Sven, sorry. Olaf, give us all the other Kristoff, give us all the other characters from that wonderful universe. And luckily, with 3.0, we do get one additional character here, and that is Mr. Olaf, who looks like he wants to give you a nice big hug. And it's one of those hugs where you're like, okay, we've hugged enough, Olaf. Olaf, okay, you gotta stop this. You gotta stop this because it looks like a permanent hug coming in from Mr. Olaf. All right, on the back it says, Enchanted Snow Companion outmaneuvers all obstacles with cool moves. Get it? That's a pun because he's made out of snow, so he's cool. Looks like Arnold maybe wrote these. Arnold, I'm talking about when he played Mr. Freeze, remember? Where he would say, chill out, get down, ice to meet you, you know, all that stuff. All right, so let's see what we have on the inside of the Olaf package. Of course, like always, we get the little card, we get the little instruction booklet, and then we get the figure itself. So let's take a look at it. Man, he's got a pretty awesome base. He's got a little flower peeking out through the snow, which is probably quite difficult to do for flowers. But then there he is, and I really love how they have even the little footsteps right there, footprints, as if he was walking this way, and then he stopped and was like, oh wait, they're making a figure out of me, and then he had to freeze. That's another pun right there, where he had to freeze, and then they sculpted him into a figure, which is pretty awesome. Of course, he's got his little branch arms, the carrot nose there, the nice little teeth there, and that patented, a little bit spooky eye, but looking still pretty fantastic and happy, and ready to join the light side, that's for sure. So far, we've gotten all figures that I would imagine would be on the Jedi side of things, in the fight, so to speak. All right, and speaking of very, very cool Jedi-like characters, we have, of course, the wonderful princess that is known as Mulan, and she is looking pretty fantastic. I really, really love this figure. We've got some cherry blossom effects right there on the actual base of the figurine. It looks phenomenal, and it's one of those films, Disney films, that I thought wasn't that popular, but I'm realizing a lot of people love that those movies, and thankfully, because of that, we get a Mulan figure, which is pretty fantastic. So on the back here, we see, of course, I also did forget to mention that always on the back of the packaging, not only do we get a shot of the figure, but we also get a shot of the character model in-game, which is really cool. Of course, once again, compatibility chart in the top right corner, and we get a little bit of a write-up from Mulan, which reads, courageous leader with martial arts skills and unrivaled bravery. Well, I'm sure that maybe, oh my goodness, why am I blanking on the character's name right now? Oh, the female lead from Brave might disagree on about that whole bravery type of thing, on being unrivaled. But that would be a really cool team up. Take oh my goodness, why am I'm not remembering her name. Okay, I'm sure you guys will leave that in the comment section below. What was the name of the red-headed girl from Brave? All right, there's the card right there. Once again, a little booklet, and here's Mulan. And very, very cool kind of traditional-like attire. She's got, of course, the medallion there around her neck, which looks really sweet. The little fan in her hands. And I really do like how she's almost like in a combat pose. She's like ready. She's prepared. Even though this might not seem like the attire for it, she's like, let's do this. I am always ready to take on anyone and everyone if that would be necessary. Really cool flow with the dress, how it connects into the base, and of course we have a little bit of grass blades right here cutting through the base, some rocks, and those previously mentioned beautiful cherry blossoms. Looks very cool and stands very, very well next to the other Disney originals here. Quite a big figure too in terms of height. Very, very cool. And then of course, last but certainly not least, we have the two Tron themed figures. We've got Quorra here, and no, it's not like the Legend of Quorra or anything like that. That's not the right Quorra. This is the Tron Quorra, and as I mentioned before, these figures, both of them, Sam Flynn and Quorra, were available as digital download characters in 2.0, but then they made them into actual figurines into 3.0. I actually wouldn't mind if they experimented with that, even maybe in 3.0, like, you know, in the latter wave, they would be like, okay, here's another 2 digital characters, and if they're popular, they're like, now we're gonna make them into figures. Like, I would love for them to do Darkwing Duck like that, or some other characters that are a little bit more obscure or maybe not quite as popular as some of the others. Nonetheless, of course, on the back of the package, we get a little bit of information about Quorra, which reads, "Defend as a fearless digital warrior with a light katana and a grappling cable." Sounds pretty sweet, to be quite honest. She kind of reminds me of, oh my goodness, what's the name of the character from TMNT that Leonardo always fights? I'm blanking on names today. I've had a long flight, so I'm a little bit tired. You might be able to tell even with my voice and everything. But I will try to remember the names for next time. Alright, so, like always, we get a little card, we get a little booklet, which is pretty sweet, and then we get a... Whoa, look at that base! It's all about that base, because this figure just looks absolutely insanely cool. Look at that. That is a very, very cool base there. Of course, they are wearing some pretty cool attire. There's her light disc there, which is pretty cool. She's got a beautiful sword right there. Look at those eyes. Those are painted so well. That's really, really incredibly well done. And look at the sculpt on the hair even. That is like really, really top-notch details right there on that figure. She looks absolutely spectacular. I love the blade there. Looking forward to actually play as this character. I'm guessing she's going to be quite agile and very, very interesting. It will be a really cool thing to like put her up against some Jedis, because of course she has a katana, they have a lightsaber, and see how well she may do against them. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and set her in the back there, and we have one final figure to go, and that is the one and only Mr. Sam Flynn, who unfortunately does not arrive on a light cycle, but he has that same really, really cool base. By the way, for him, the information reads, "Take charge as a fearless user armed with an identity disc." Oh, that's what they're called? I thought they were called light discs this whole time. I really need to rewatch Tron. I've only seen that, those movies once each, so I really do need to rewatch them. So there's Sam Flynn. Of course, no face sculpted or anything like that. I'm guessing maybe that's some sort of a rights issue, or maybe it was like difficult to figure out which way to go with, but I still think he looks awesome because that helmet looks super duper sweet. I love the entire attire. It just looks really, really nice. That base is super cool, and of course there's that identity that, whoa, look at that detail on the gloves. Like, imagine, they could have just gone ahead and just painted all that black, but imagine, just to do that, they had to like paint all of this black, but then these specific parts had to be in skin color. That is incredible attention to detail. I love that the visor is actually like a translucent piece of plastic. You can notice how it's a very shiny and reflective surface versus everything else having kind of a matte-like finish. And of course, that beautiful, gorgeous base. I think this might be my favorite base ever for any Disney Infinity figure because it just looks so cool. It's such a really, really, really unique base and looks absolutely incredible. And the attire itself is really sweet. We have a whole bunch of different textures. Like you can see kind of a mesh-like attire on the sides here with the rib cage and on the pants, whereas the rest of it almost looks like leather, which is super duper sweet. The weapon looks super cool, and in general, just the figure itself is really, really nicely done. And it joins, of course, our entire lineup there in the background. Of course, Mulan, Mickey and Minnie, Olaf, Quorra, and Sam Flynn are the roundup for today's unboxing video. Of course, if you guys enjoyed today's unboxing video, please don't forget to smack that like button right below. And of course, stay tuned for plenty more Disney Infinity 3.0 content coming your way. As always, guys, I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will indeed catch you lovely folks next time. Peace out. See you later, alligators. Bye-bye, everyone.